So what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Carrasco Ranch. My name is Robert. If this is your first time tuning in. So in this video, we're gonna go over my story and how I was able to buy property at 23 years old. So stay tuned. So this is a video that's probably long overdue. And the reason it's being brought up now is because people are just curious, how am I quote unquote so young and able to do so much? And again, this isn't to brag. This isn't anything like that. I don't care about none of that stuff. It's just more to show more people that it can be done, even with, lower socioeconomic status like myself. It can be done. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up, and because people are curious. So that's the only reason, like I said, I'm talking about it. It's a little uncomfortable for me, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. So it is what it is, right? So, just to kind of state that we were pretty freaking poor growing up. Honestly, you really don't know you're poor when you're a kid. You just don't see it. It's not until you get older when you realize you're poor. We didn't even have air conditioning until I was in my teens. I don't remember the exact age, but yeah, I would always walk into Walmart when I was younger, and I was like, man, it feels so good in here. Obviously, it doesn't feel like that at the house. So, yeah, you really don't realize how poor you are until you get older, and life is just fine. You live just fine like that. But the reason it's important is because it's just to show you that just because you are quote unquote poor right now doesn't mean you can't just do something later on in your life. And it can happen very fast, guys. There's a lot of different ways to do it. But yeah, so going back to it. So I remember when I was little, or a lot younger, my dad had a full-time job. He had 2 jobs actually. At one point he had 3 jobs. It was always going from job to job to job just to make things, just to make ends meet. So just growing up with that kind of mindset kind of changed me as well, just seeing it growing up. And I realized I didn't want to be in that position when I get older. So I'm thankful that I was exposed to that kind of stuff, because if I wasn't, I probably wouldn't be as hungry as I am today. So I'm thankful for those experiences and seeing those types of things, because like I said, I wouldn't be as hungry as I am today, and I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for me seeing this and experiencing this when I was younger. I remember when we would have, no running water, or electricity would be off. It was just all these things that you really didn't even know were going on when you're little. You think it's fun. It's like a play date, right? It's like a movie night. You have the lights off, right? So, I mean, we didn't know. We were kids, so it was fun. But yeah, now looking back, I'm like, holy crap, we were pretty damn poor. So that's, like I said, it's just to show you guys that it can be done. You can buy land. Obviously, I've done a lot more since just this property, and I've put myself in a position where I don't have to work anymore. So if anyone is interested in that story, I will be more than happy to share it with you guys. Like I said, it isn't easy, but it can be done. And this is just for inspiration and motivation to show you guys that even though it may be hard, I know it's hard, but it takes a lot of discipline, and it takes a lot of just planning if you want to buy land. So to start off, I've been working since about 8 years old, working in the fields, working with my dad, working on ranches, doing all that kind of stuff. I was getting paid an adult's wage at that time, because I was doing adult jobs, different types of odds jobs, taking out tree stumps, working with cattle, working with quail farms, things like that. So really quickly, I just want to mention that my dad has a little side hustle he has going on. He sells firewood. We have a lot of firewood. We mainly use it for our Airbnbs and our properties, but we do sell some when we have like a lot. We'll sell some on the side to, if a guest wants to take some home, we'll sell it to them. Or if people are just asking for firewood, we'll sell it to them. So if anyone is interested, he's the one that handles all that, but my email is down below in the description. If you want to hit me up on there, or on IG, you can definitely hit me up on there. And we'll take care of you guys. Anywhere in and around the San Antonio area, south of San Antonio, is where we will get our business from. So throughout this time, again, I'm still a kid, I'm 8 years old. I was just saving my money. Some of it would go to my mom. My mom would save some of my money, and then some I would save myself. Sometimes I just wanted to, I remember one of the first things I bought in my paycheck was a TV. I always wanted a TV in my room, so I bought a TV. That was one of the first purchases I did do. But like I said, I've been working for a long time, doing crazy types of jobs that you wouldn't expect, I guess, an 8-year-old to be doing. But around the age of 10 or 12, the one that sticks around the most for me is working with bales of hay. They were square bales, and they would this is when I kind of learned to drive standard, was around that age. And it was a big old dually truck with a trailer. I wasn't strong enough to carry those square bales and throw them up onto the trailer, so they had me just driving around, and the guys are in the back stacking all the square bales. But once I got a little older, around 12, 13 years old, I just remember I was just come home just sore, itchy, just feeling like crap, man. But yeah, those memories just stick in your head, and you don't want to go back to those, right? So all throughout high school, I was also working. So I would wake up around 2 o'clock in the morning, go to work, get out of work, go straight to school, and go to football practice or whatever I had going on afterwards. Also, throughout high school, I also had a lot of little side hustles. Something that I kind of started when I was in high school also was shipping firewood. I used to ship firewood across anywhere in the country, anywhere in the United States. A lot of people in Florida or Colorado, things like that, they didn't have access to mesquite wood, but they really liked it. And I kind of found a niche there on eBay where I was just shipping firewood. I was making quite a bit of money doing this. So you might be asking, where the hell are you even getting this firewood? So we would have people that we knew ask us if we wanted firewood. Obviously, we had to go out there and cut it ourselves. So that's what I would do. I'd go out there, usually me and my dad, and cut it, chop it up into sizes that would fit into boxes, and then ship it all over the country. It was a good little side gig. Also, collecting cans. Back then, I felt like, I don't know, maybe I was younger, but I felt like they paid really well for cans. So I'd always be out there collecting cans and just hustling, man. I was always hustling, trying to make money. So all this hustling kind of helped me pay for college. I didn't have to take out any student loans, mainly because I was scared to take out student loans, to be honest with you. But I was always told not to take out student loans as well from my parents. So just hustling. I kept these little side hustles going through college. I ended up getting a construction job that was paying me very well on top of all these little side hustles I had going on. And then I still had a second job on top of all this stuff. So I was doing a lot of stuff at this time, just trying to pay my way through college so I would graduate with no debt. So that definitely helped me to put me in a good position at the age of 23 to buy land. There's multiple ways to get this done. You don't have to follow this way. I'm just giving you my story to kind of help inspire somebody, or to motivate somebody, or to show somebody that it can be done. Obviously, it's not easy. It's pretty freaking hard. I was a lot younger, so I could kind of handle more and more things like that going on. Now that I'm getting older, I'm realizing, okay, maybe you need to settle down a little bit. But so my family couldn't really go out and help pay for college. I had to figure out how to pay for this stuff. And I was aware of loans. I just didn't understand how they worked. So I never messed with any of that stuff, mainly because I was scared. Fear isn't a good thing, but I'm glad I was scared of that because it put me in a better position, right? So when I graduated, I had no student debt. After I graduated, I was actually working at a cancer research center before I even graduated. Luckily enough, they were kind enough to hire me before I even graduated. So I was working in the cancer research area, doing that for a while, and then I ended up going into blood transfusion, just kind of looking at the antigens and all the scientific stuff of blood and making sure they were compatible with whoever was going to get a blood transfusion, things like that. All medical field stuff. And like I said, I was saving all my money, most of my money. So yeah, fast forward, I'm now out of high school. I go to college. Around 21, my mom ended up passing away due to cancer. So just to kind of touch on that, she was not a smoker, not a drinker. We didn't know anything was wrong. It kind of just happened real quickly. Around this time, and this all relates to me buying land and doing all that stuff, right? But just kind of giving a background on my story. I had about 20 grand saved up, which at the time was a lot of money for me. 21, my mom passed away. I had about 20,000 saved up. Some of that went to cover some funeral expenses. And I kind of entered like a dark place. I just was kind of lost. I lost my mom. I'm still young. I'm still in college at this time, actually. I had taken some time off just going through all that stuff. I was working 2 jobs, going to college. I was working construction at this time in Austin, Texas. And it was just a lot for me to handle. So I did take some time off. It took basically like 1 course throughout that semester. So it definitely pushed me back. Got my degree. Of course, at that time, I went back down to zero. So I had 20 grand, but I went back down to zero. I was broke again. just buying stupid stuff, of course, the funeral expenses, things like that. So here I am, 21 years old with no money to my name, just lost my mom. I really didn't know what I was going to do with my life, honestly. I wasn't sure. It just, a lot of thinking goes on. You just sit there in your own thoughts and just pondering. I'm 21 years old, lost my mom, no money, nothing to my name, right? Then it kind of just snapped around, I guess, 22-ish, about a year later. So it kind of just snapped. And I need to get my shit together, you know. Life is short. I just saw what happened to my mom. Perfectly healthy woman, and in a matter of months, gone. Just deteriorated so quickly, right? So seeing this, I was like, man, I really have to get my shit together. Like, life is too short. Like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life just working at a job. Like, that's just not what makes me happy. So I started investing my money. I was already investing around 18 years old, but not as heavily. That's the reason I got to that 20 grand point at 21. Began investing in money and just saving it again. At 23, fast forward 23 years old, I find this property. I found this property, really loved it. I thought it was the best location. I'm gonna be honest with you, I had no clue what the hell I was doing with this real estate stuff. Had no clue. I was just going off a gut instinct, to be honest with you. What I was looking at was like, oh man, there's water, that's awesome. There's big trees, that's awesome. That's literally like a kind of a kid mindset at this point. I liked the property, I thought it looked good. No real fundamentals on it, just going with gut and what I saw. So luckily it played out for me. But yeah, I've learned a lot since then. So again, 23 years old, we closed on this property. I think we closed maybe when I was 24, right before I turned 24, somewhere around that. So 23 years old, first property. Now, buying land has always been a dream of mine. I've always wanted to. I just never really knew if I could financially. I'm young. Sometimes being young and dumb kind of plays in your favor. I didn't know, so I went ahead and applied, and lo and behold, I did get approved for this stuff. I had the capital up front to go ahead and close on the property. So the property doesn't look like what it looks like today. It looked a lot worse than this. It was pretty much an abandoned property is what it looked like to me. Everything was overgrown. The tank was overgrown. It was real shallow. Bunch of mud in there, bunch of trees overgrown in there. But it had potential. It had the water. It had runoff. I had brought my dad out here to come look at it, give me a second opinion on it. And ultimately we decided to go ahead and purchase this. No one helped me out with this. No one could help me out with this. No one could walk me through on how to buy property, walk me through on how to finance property, walk me through on if this is even a good property. We're just going off of my gut and then what my dad thought about it as well, because his opinion was important to me. So if anyone is interested in my story after the age of 23, I will definitely put together another video on it. It gets a little lengthy, but definitely after the age of 23, that's when my life really just kind of took off and blossomed and turned into what it is today. Like I said, it hasn't always been like this. Grew up very, very poor growing up. It was a struggle until I was old enough to start working. Then things got a little easier. So for you dads who have kids out there and they're old enough to even understand this, definitely show it to them. So hopefully they can be in a better position as well. It'll definitely help them out along the, in the future, hopefully, right? If they're able to understand all this stuff, if they're old enough to understand it, basically. But yeah, just to kind of show that it can be done, even if you come from a poor family, I guess you can say, or poor socio-economical status, you can definitely get it done. It's not impossible, it's not easy, but it can be done. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that quick little chat or rant about my short little story up until the age of 23. Like I said, if you guys want to see what happened after 23, I can put together a video for you guys. I'm not that comfortable talking about all this stuff, so that's the reason I'm like, if y'all want to see it, I'll talk about it. If y'all don't, then that's fine with me too. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Until next time, be careful, be good, take care, and God bless. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.